welcome to The Hill is Always Greener, a show where four friends have chill discussions about Sonic the Hedgehog to distract themselves from the inevitable passage of time and their own rapidly waning ability to relate to the youth. I am your host today, Game Buddy.
Oh, that's right, that's me. And I am here today to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm Falero. We gotta roll those R's today.
I'm Rock the Jake, and I'm giving myself a promotion.
Oh boy, I'm Cyberlink, and I'm going to make some podcast stew today.
And boy, I hope that was obvious enough even for our younger members of the audience, but we are talking about Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog again!
Woo! Yay!
But
It's been too long.
sorry folks, we are riding high on our pre-show jokes that you may never hear, so we're just going to roll right into the show. But we are revisiting Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog as partially a late celebration of the show's 30th anniversary. But also we kind of want to do this thing with the Sonic cartoons that we can, where we go all the way back, not to just the first episode, but to the pilots. Which are usually much different than the show we got, as is the nature of cartoon pilots, if you're slightly knowledgeable of that sort of thing. But I think this one, Cyberlink, you put together a lot of the research for this one, so I am going to throw it to you, as per usual.
Yeah, I did do a little bit more research for this, and a lot of this information comes from various oral histories, and in particular, the legend himself, Milton Knight, character designer, storyboarder, animator on this show. And just to kind of briefly summarize the history of how this show came about, it all starts with a little show that's I can't say that's what it's called, but we like to call Sonic Sat AM. Because it is kind of
Saturday morning.
Yes,
Sonic.
It is kind of the focal point for all of this, because Deke saw how successful the Sonic games were, and since they had experience making shows based on games, obviously all the Mario cartoons, Captain N, all that stuff, they ended up cutting a deal with Sega to develop this new Sonic cartoon, which we've talked about at length over the years, the Kiss the Fish art, the more humorous pilot, and everything, and. Ultimately, ABC ended up, they sold it to ABC. It's going to be airing on Saturday mornings. Everything's fine. Everything's good. Great. Things get a little complicated when Deke decides, hey, ABC, I know we've got this deal already locked in for 13 episodes on Saturday mornings on your network. Could we maybe sell another 65 directly into syndication? We did that with Real Ghostbusters years before, and that obviously worked out very well for us. So, maybe sort of, kind of do this thing. And ABC was under the impression that, hey, no, you sold this to us. We were under the impression that this was going to be on our network exclusively. And I believe the direct quote they were given in response was, if you guys want to do syndication, be our guest, go with God, but you won't be on our network.
Okay.
Wow.
Pretty definitive. So obviously, Deke's not super happy about that, even with the deal at hand. So Robbie London at Deke, their senior VP, basically proposed something that's, to my knowledge, has never been done before and hasn't really been done since. We're going to make two entirely separate cartoons based on the exact same source material. We're going to make them completely tonally removed from one another, and we'll give ABC the more serious serialized version, and then syndication will get the goofy gag-driven show. And for whatever reason, ABC is like, yeah, okay, that works. And that is how AOSTH enters production.
Well, I didn't know that.
Fascinating that happened, because we know that originally the plan was, it's going to be a silly goof-em-up show with all the Freedom Fighter characters. And yeah, we've talked about that in depth, like those versions. But yeah, they just kind of split it apart in the end. And so the goofy side is what we're talking about today. And the serious side is we've talked about that at length too. But that is interesting. Because no, I don't think that's ever happened with any other, especially not video game cartoons.
Like, my understanding is that, the two shows' creative teams and their whole productions were very separate from one another, even though they were both operating under Deke. That said, neither of the creatives on either show felt like they were in competition with one another, since they were ultimately both doing such different things with their shows. In fact, my understanding is that at one point, Ben Hurst and Pat Ali actually pitched an episode outline for Adventures, but ended up not being taken.
Oh, man.
What a world that would have been.
The one consistency is the fact that it's got Jaleel White in both of them, and I guess they both really wanted Jaleel White as Sonic, like, even to the point that, obviously Jaleel White is not based in Canada like the rest of the cast of AOSTH, so yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I can't remember. I thought we even heard interviews to where I think Jaleel usually recorded after both casts, either after or before. But either way, I mean, it is just crazy to hear that all laid out, because that is, I just cannot fathom that happening definitely today in the world where, like, even if you have a popular children's cartoon is more likely to get split up into 3 fake seasons on Netflix, let alone like, oh yeah, syndication had a magic number on TV and it was, close to 100 episodes, 65, depending on some rules, and like, man, and it was still a crazy scenario for back in the 90s for that to happen as well. What a wild thing.
And to your point, Chris, my understanding is that Jaleel did record his lines separately from everybody else, just because it had to be done around his shooting schedule for Family Matters, which was still in like season 3 or 4 at the time.
And I think that's part of the reason why they wanted him in there, because, like, Steve Urkel is the new hotness. This one-off little character from one episode of the popular Family Matters sitcom, who basically took over the show, as I understand it. They're like, we need him to be Sonic the Hedgehog.
I mean, that is the way, isn't it? You get like one big, popular star to be like one of your main characters, and then you fill out the rest of your cast with Canadians. It's the same thing with, like Mario Brothers Super Show or whatever.
Oh yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, Lou Albano playing. He was the big pop culture star at the time, kind of.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if they somehow roped Jaleel White into doing live action intro segments for the Sonic cartoons? Like,
that's horrifying.
Put him in a hat, maybe.
I mean, the more I think about it, the more I think, like, that's not just Deke either. Like, a lot of shows were doing at that time. I obviously think of Reboot, where it's an all Canadian cast except for Tony J.
True, yeah.
Sorry, this is barely related, but just mentioning Captain Lou Albano, famous former wrestler and wrestling manager, came in to play Mario for those cartoons. Yeah, and the other Deke, I'm pretty sure it was Deke who made Hogan's Rock and Wrestling as well. Well, they get an actual voice actor to play Captain Lou Albano himself, so that's so strange. Like if they had Urkel in an episode and it was voiced by some other guy.
God, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I'm checking. It was Deke working on Rock and Wrestling, which is a show that I forgot existed until you literally said it like seconds ago.
Charlie Adler playing Rowdy Roddy Piper, so there's our further Sonic connection. Snively as the villain in that one.
Yep.
And, damn it. Sorry, I shouldn't spend too much time talking about Hulk Hogan because he sucks.
It's okay, he's dead.
That's true.
Rest in piss.
Second time that's come up on the podcast.
I know, I had to cut it the first time because it wasn't germane. Now it's germane because we're talking about wrestling cartoons.
Yeah, sorry, Hogan was played by Brad Garrett, who you'll know from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a pull.
It's a hell of a cast. Like, James Avery is Junkyard Dog.
Yeah.
Wow.
Neil Ross is Mean Gene Okerlund. Aaron Kincaid, Batman the Animated Series, Killer Croc. Yeah, Killer Croc himself as the Iron Sheik.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, I'm sorry, I got us off track there, but I just think that's interesting.
You can fall down. I mean, there are probably an infinite number of Deke cartoon rabbit holes we could fall down into. We're trying to stick with the two Sonic related ones.
I'm trying really hard not to bring up the Deke season of G.I. Joe where they kept like 3 cast members and then just replaced everybody else with Canadians.
Yeah, but you know what? Those Canadians are great, though. I love
True.
whenever I hear them in just about any show. And we'll get into those this time, but maybe not right away, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say that particular, habit is going to be relevant specifically because of this pilot we're about to talk about, which I've never officially shared anywhere until its inclusion in the Discotheque box set, but it was first uploaded to YouTube in March of 2009 by a user who was provided a copy by Milton Knight from his collection.
I love that there are 2 major accounts of lost Sonic media being discovered just from fans who contacted one of the creators and said, "Can I have this?" This and the soundtrack to the Sonic OVA.
That's right, yeah. That's really interesting. What's interesting about this one is that when we say pilots, you might think of different things. Like sometimes pilots end up being like the first episode, or in the case of Satiem, a much later episode in season 2, which is weird. But this was a very early workprint pilot that just basically was like a proof of concept of what they're doing for AOSTH, as I understand it. It's still got the little time code at the top left, and it's not finished, but it's the best we've got. And probably will ever get.
And to our knowledge, there is no finished version of this. Like it was a production rush, which was, an unedited work print from before they added audio and did color correction for TV. Milton Knight says the whole thing was produced very quickly and he's never seen the pilot outside of this form. So he doesn't know if it was ever, quote unquote completed. Although some clips in better quality actually show up in a couple of other episodes, a commercial for the Sonic 2 LCD game, and even a couple seconds of a behind the scenes video for Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood.
Wow.
Don't ask how.
Oh,
But,
Oh, and famously, one scene would show up in the ending credits of the show every episode as well.
yes, for sure. We will talk about that scene when we get there. But a lot of this information does come directly from Milton Knight, who actually did commentary over it for the Discotheque set. Oh. So that's where I'm getting a lot of my information
that's
from.
super cool.
Yeah. He was actually one of the animators directly on this pilot as well, along with... My understanding is the 2 lead animators on the pilot were himself and Ed Love, who he sent up a lot as the animator on a lot of different scenes, including the credits sequence. Ed Love passed away in 96, but he was a big-time animation veteran who had been working in the industry since the 30s. He was in like his 80s at the time when he was animating on this. He had done stuff like some Mickey Mouse shorts, The Sorcerer's Apprentice and Fantasia, a bunch of MGM shorts under Tex Avery, and like a bunch of Hanna-Barbera cartoons and like half the Smurfs episodes.
That's awesome.
So like he was a legit old school guy. And I think that part of the reason he was in on this is that apparently Kent Butterworth, who was the like lead producer and director on the series, is like a huge old school animation guy and wanted to bring in a lot of people from like that older generation of animators. So whenever like a lot of Deke's works would be farmed out to, overseas studios, but whenever he had the opportunity to get people to do stuff over here, he would take that opportunity.
I think that's why I totally understand people who are put off by a lot of Adventures of Sonic, because I know it can be ugly and it is quite silly, and maybe you really have to have been as part of like the 90s cartoon zeitgeist to find like nostalgia in it. But there is some real talent on this show that does shine through, and I think I will just reiterate what I'm sure I've said in the past. Is I think the staff on Adventures of Sonic did the best with the resources they had, which was probably like, $50 an episode from Deke while they were cranking out so many video game cartoon adaptions. It's not even funny.
Yeah. Just to make sure to give everybody their flowers, we do have a fair number of here's the credits we know, basically thanks to what Milton Knight has been able to provide. He was as I said, animation, storyboard, layout, and character design, including Robotnik. Kent Butterworth, the producer, director, and one of the storyboarders. Ed Love on animation, as I said. Gary Paul Terry, who was on storyboard, layout, and character design for Scratch and Grounder. Eddie Fitzgerald on storyboarding, Mike Fontanelli on design, Mark Schurmeister on design, and Jordan Rychek on design. So it was, from my understanding, a very small team that put this together in a very short period of time. Not to sell this to networks, as you would think, because, as we said, the show was basically already planned, going straight into syndication. This was, from my understanding, more to sell it to advertisers specifically.
Right.
Oh, I wonder. Well, I'm sure it had something to do with him being just an absolutely legendary figure in voiceover, period. But I mean, the fact that the first voice you hear in the pilot is Gary Owens.
Owens.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no problem saying, like, no, you have heard this guy's voice, whether you watched cartoons, even some of our younger listeners.
The crazed tyrant Dr. Robotnik is out to conquer the planet Mobius. All that stands in his way is the fastest freedom fighter who ever lived, Sonic the Hedgehog.
If you watch cartoons, I mean, commercials in the 60s and 70s, if your parents or grandparents watched Laughed In, I mean, you have heard this guy's voice. I mean, guy did probably like tens of thousands of commercials with that voice. And I mean, was the original voice of Space Ghost and guested on Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
I just was watching through my old Hanna-Barbera watch through Dynamut and Dog Wonder with the Blue Falcon, and he's in that, and he rules in that. He's so funny as the deadpan guy to Frank Welker being silly. The guy's voice is legendary.
Is all over. He's the first voice you hear in the intro to Garfield and Friends.
That's true,
anytime there's interstitial like narration.
Nice.
I mean, I even remember The Perils of Penelope Pitstop, which is a cartoon I remember nothing about except that he narrates it and has like funny narrator jokes and whatnot. But good Lord,
I mean, there's a reason when you want to do a narrator for voice like in the style of that era, everybody always goes to that sort of narration style.
Yep. I mean, yeah, just looking at a sample, like literally that, going from that to like, oh yeah, the narration for the Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, the Buzz Lightyear cartoon that was in syndication, the narrator for the U.S. commercial of Super Mario Land 2, the 6 golden coins. I mean, yeah, it's just impossible to overstate how prolific this guy was.
It's both really natural hearing his voice in this sort of thing, but also really strange hearing him talk about Mobius and Dr. Robotnik. But here we are.
Especially considering that there would be no narrator in the final show.
That's right, yeah, just for this.
And also, the only other two actors in this pilot that you hear are Jaleel White as Sonic and then Jim Cummings as Dr. Robotnik and every other interstitial little voice you hear.
And Russi Taylor as Tails in the very last segment.
Maybe Russi Taylor. That's never been confirmed.
Is it not sure? Is it not clear?
No one's quite sure.
It sounds vaguely like the kid, the Huey Dewey Louie.
Yeah, listening again, I could definitely tell it's not a child actor. It sounds like an adult woman doing a little boy voice. But yeah, it does sound painfully familiar.
Could be saying Uncle Scrooge, or but it's not.
But yeah, this pilot opens up basically on a big, fancy narration about Dr. Robotnik controlling the planet Mobius, enemy number one, Sonic the Hedgehog, with his very first appearance having a blue arm error.
Yeah.
It's on a poster. They got it wrong. They printed it out wrong just to disrespect him.
I just imagine it's like, Flynn and Tangled. They always get my arms wrong.
Yeah, it's super. I mean, you would think I would have more to say about like the other Dr. Robotnik, Jim Cummings playing Adventures of Sonic Robotnik. But I mean, I can tell it's not a bad performance, but I can tell they just brought him in as to like fill this out. Like I can tell
it might be a case where he was already cast for Saturday morning shows. So they had him record for the pilot as well. And then ultimately decided, maybe too pricey. Let's get this for Vancouver rates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's fine. I think it's like...
Yeah.
I mean, like, he's not doing the same thing as in Sat.am, obviously. He's just doing more of that sort of Pete thing, where it's just a bit more loud and boisterous. And I think it would be really fitting if you didn't already imagine another voice coming out of that character design.
That's right. The first one who captures the sneaky pest can name his own reward. I want that hedgehog.
Yes, precisely.
Yeah.
Which is just the elephant in the room. Is like, how do you even judge it properly when we have almost 100 episodes of Long John Baldry as
Right.
Robotnik to compare it to?
Yes, it would have been fine, but it would not have been the same, and I would not want to live in that universe.
Yes.
And we were talking about this earlier, but I have never seen this pilot before until, getting ready for this episode. And when I first heard Jim Cummings, I was like, oh, cool. That's really neat to hear him. I also agree that like Lon John Baldry for this show and the style of like comedy that's going for, I think is the far better choice. But like Jim Cummings is not doing a bad job in the pilot at all. And yeah, like you said, Chris, he's definitely kind of doing his Pete voice from Goof Troop a bit.
And he's also doing Scratch as well in that one, which is...
Yeah.
Scratch or Grounder, they're not on screen, so I can't tell for sure.
One of the one of the two hench bots. Oh, what a great plan, Dr. Robot. No.
I got to tell you, I like, the show proper doesn't really do this. And I mean, it's funny that the Sat.am pilot also did this. I like the adaptions of some of the game Badnik designs into this. I mean, even this mechanical bull that Sonic fights is kind of styled like a game Badnik instead of, the silly mishmash of geometry that most of the robots and adventures of Sonic would look like.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, specifically for the pilot and for the first episode, Milton Knight straight up admitted that, we just kind of, took a lot of inspiration from old Tezuka character designs for those robots specifically. And some of them really show it. Like, there's one I will call out later, but this was at a point where they were like leaning much more into like the game aesthetic. Like after the whole thing inside the tent where Robotnik is offering a reward to whoever catches Sonic, in that shot where they just redrew it for the continued screed of Mean Bean Machine.
Yep.
That's so funny.
But like right after that is Sonic running through what is very clearly Emerald Hill Zone.
Yep.
He runs on a loop-de-loop like in the games.
Like in the games.
Watching that is somebody's going to, just like the games.
I mean, there is a bit of like the games in AOSTH throughout.
Oh, yeah.
It's just not as prevalent as it is in this little concentrated example of Sonic, I suppose.
Sorry, I got to go back to the comparison of the continue screen for Mean Bean Machine, and just like there is the weird ant insect robot, which would be the design they use for Tails' fake parents in that one episode.
Oh yeah,
and then
right.
the guy on the left is just the
It's just a Tin Man, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like he's got the upside down oil funnel on his head and everything.
He's a bad guy. It's because he has no heart. Sorry, what we establish here, and it's going to be established in the first episode, is that these are all like basically bounty hunters trying to catch a Sonic for a reward. The one who catches Sonic can name his own reward. Yeah. But that's interesting because didn't Robotnik make all these blokes? Or
yeah.
They just but he still got to bribe them with money.
It reminds me of, Samurai Jack did the same exact thing, but they were all robots, so you could have horrific, violence and get away with it for a kid's show. So maybe the same thing, or they were just like, well, we want to have a bunch of bad guys for Sonic to outsmart, but the only bad guys in the game are robots, so we'll make a bunch of robots. Robotnik, Dr. Robotnik is a genius. He's not exactly smart, though.
It's the self-confidence, really. And this pilot does end up being mostly kind of similar gags to what you would see in a lot of episodes, particularly in the pilot, where it is basically just a lot of Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote style gags of Robotnik doing different things to catch Sonic, firing the cactus out of the cannon that eventually tires out, gets tired of, shooting after him and then runs back and clogs the cannon.
Whereas Robotnik is bouncing his ass all around the place because they wanted to establish this man is proud of his rear.
That is all Milton Knight. He says that anytime there was an opportunity to, he urged the animators put real emphasis on that ass.
I mean, it's not even, we have a handy time code up in the left-hand corner. It's literally not even 2 minutes into the pilot before we get a live nude Robotnik.
Yeah.
Yep. What is the trope of the sexy fat man or something like that is what we said before?
Well, sexiest fat man.
I'd love that Robotnik built this kind of looks like could be a Adventures of Sonic design of bomb from Knuckles Chaotix with one mechanical hand just for pulling the cactus needles out of naked Robotnik.
Yeah.
I believe that whole sequence was all Milton Knight. Like some of his early images from that are bonus content on the DVD set.
Which I'm sure in our first visit to Adventures of Sonic, we talked about how good that set is, and I think can still be found for a handsome price. So pick it up.
Yeah, it is, SD Blu-ray or whatever, but it's still probably the best way to watch this show if you have the ability. Although, again, the whole thing is up on YouTube for free legally and on, all sorts of other streaming sites. So you don't have to go far to find it.
Yeah, I will say that set is probably the best way to see those. They do look the best, and I'm pretty sure, and I'm repeating myself, there's a nice stereo sound mix on all of the episodes on that set, too.
Yeah.
It's interesting, after we get some more narration, Sonic runs through a Mobian village, and it's a bunch of, cartoony rabbits instead of the horrible abominations we would see in the villages in the main show.
Yeah. This is also where we get our big weight gag from the credits.
Yeah, I thought that was super cool.
And it's a strange bit where Robotnik actually has a full cape. He doesn't actually. He never has a cape for the most part in this show, as far as I know.
Yeah, I never realized that. Yeah.
He just felt like being fancy that day.
It's reminiscent of the tiny little cape in his actual official Eggman design of the time.
Oh yeah,
he's got a full cape.
I kind of wish they had kept that. I know that he kept that in Sat AM for the most part, but I kind of wish they had kept it in Adventures as well.
It's fun. I mean, it looks like he stole it straight off of Mario from the Super Mario World cartoon.
Well, you know what the problem is? I'm looking at the production art here that you showed me, that you're showing of basically the style guide of Robotnik that you've shared, Luke. And the problem with the cape is it would cover up his juicy ass. So
yeah,
this is true.
Sorry, I'm looking at this guide and it says, remember, Robotnik is not a straight villain. And I'm like, I'll say.
He is an object of ridicule. When drawing him, keep that fat adult you hated when you were a child in mind, or your least favorite politician.
Big, huge, fat, and repulsive. With an underline on it.
And then we get another, I sure hope somebody got fired for that one. Sonic swimming
I
like
can't
he
believe
loves
that.
water.
Canon.
Here's the thing. Milton Knight has said, yeah, I know. People have told me Sonic can't swim. I just did what they told me.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those, who cares? I mean, he swims in Sat AM too.
It's true.
It's one of those things they missed.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think that ever came up in any of the Bibles that we read. So
no, I think that was we'd have to track that down. I don't want to say something I know is wrong, but I wonder if it was in some Japanese manual or something like that to explain why he sinks like a rock even in that first game. We do get some interesting, I guess this mayor of this town having its water stolen is supposed to be a human, maybe. I guess he's just a Mobian.
yeah.
He's just a cartoonman. I guess that's about it.
There you go.
He reminds me of the mayor from The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, yeah. He does look like his face should swivel around and have a different expression on the back.
Yeah.
We do get our first shot of Tails, who I think in the Sat AM pilot is much more orange than the dingy brown he would end up being in the American cartoons.
And we also, as during the sequence where he's swimming, we also get a bunch of Mashers, Octus, and Chop Chops from Sonic 2.
Yeah,
like, again,
they look
going
great.
back to really leaning into game material.
Sonic does zip inside the big water pipe Robotnik's using and goes through like a cool, probably not intentional, but it's like, oh yeah, like chemical plant. He's in the water pipe.
Yeah. We get another really nice sequence of Sonic on the beach being attacked by Robotnik tunneling underneath. This whole sequence also animated by Milton Knight.
In that version of the Egomatic that he would use in the Breezy episode, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Oh
I think you're right. Just some really gorgeous animation on this, even in its, super kind of like low quality version from this old recording. Just absolute Sakuga.
Yeah, like this whole pilot has just really good animation overall, and I definitely took notice of that. I loved it.
Considering the small team, like they did the best they could.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that is the nature of pilots, is you get to have, slightly better animation than the final show is going to have because you're going to sell it to, whoever.
And then Sonic creams all over Robotnik's face.
Whoa. Yeah, that bit apparently was not animated by Milton Knight. He did it up until the drilling into the ground, and then somebody else took over for the rest of that sequence.
Interesting that it's unfortunate that really fun sequence, the beach and the Egomatic, is the one with no voices. Like, it's animated to lip sync. I wonder if there was maybe a temp track there. But then we skip to reveal the king and queen of Mobius, and it's a lion couple.
King Leo and his gorilla warfighters.
And the gorillas.
Oh, yeah, I saw them in the background. That's funny.
This whole thing is much more kind of in tone with the rest of the show, where it is, Sonic running into whoever he needs to help that week and agreeing to, do whatever to stop Robotnik from taking their things or whatever he's doing. In this case, literally driving a robot that is tearing up all the trees in the savannah.
What's interesting is they do mention, resistance group and soups and people who are fighting against the tyranny of Robotnik. And I guess Robotnik's supposed to be kind of ruling the world here. He's supposed to be like a dictator, but it's not like quite as explicit as in Sat AM.
Yeah.
I guess it's in Adventures. I mean, it comes up quite a bit. Like, he swoops around, I think there's collecting taxes and like when he swoops into a town and kidnaps their local cartoonist and whatnot. So he definitely does whatever he wants. Like, he is the ruler. We end with Robotnik going after Sonic with the ball and chain from Sonic 1.
In what certainly looks a lot like Hilltop Zone.
And then Sonic ends with addressing directly to the advertisers.
Yeah.
Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. It's fast and furious. I'm fast and he's furious. Got a juice, bet you can't catch me. At least not until the fall of '93!
That's so stupid, it's cute.
Yeah.
This is I suppose one of the first times Jaleel White would have played Sonic, and he's got the sauce right from the beginning. I'm sorry, I don't care what anyone says. I love his Sonic. It is funny that they got the nerd from Family Matters, and he's playing the coolest guy on Mobius. But it works so well, weirdly.
And we even you think it's over, and then we get the very first Sonic Says segment.
Hey Sonic, wait for me! Ah! I know, don't tell me.
So how about you tell me?
Never cross the street without looking both ways first.
You got it, pal. And that goes for the rest of you out there. I don't want any of my pals ending up as road pizza.
Clearly shows that Sonic Says was always going to be part of the show, even from the jump. Specifically because at that time, broadcast stations need to fill a quota for educational content. So having those PSAs tacked on the end made shows more attractive to networks.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, this was one of the last shows to do these kind of tacked on PSAs at the end. They were much bigger in the 80s with shows like G.I. Joe and He-Man, but by this time, Sailor Moon's maybe the only other one I can think of that was still doing this. In fact, I don't think that these were in the original UK airings at the time.
That's the thing I was going to bring up. I don't remember if these were. I don't believe they were on the VHSs that I had, because I had the first VHS of this, where it was the first 3 episodes of Sonic, and I'd watched that Breezy episodes countless times, but I sure as hell don't remember the famous PSA, the infamous PSA, I should say, about. Well, you know the one.
Yeah.
Maybe the next time we visit Adventures of Sonic, I can actually do my research and see if that's part of it. But I thought all that went to when regulations for children's media were loosened up by who else, folks? Let's say it. 1, 2, 3. Ronald Reagan. To where it basically lets you advertise directly to children with cartoons and shows and media based directly on, toy properties. But a certain amount of children's programming had to contain educational content, which is where you got, basically, I think this could be apocryphal, is why you would get like the last 30 seconds of a show talk about turn the faucet off when you're brushing your teeth, or the Sonic Says and all that.
Pork chop sandwiches.
But yeah, it really was falling out of like you said, falling out of use by the 90s. Like, everybody remembers G.I. Joe, and that's about it after that point.
Well, it's just like Sonic to be pulling from the well of things that have stopped being cool anymore and repurposing it for his own use, because that's the Sonic way.
Yeah, like, I think that it was just Sonic, Deke, and Sailor Moon by that time.
Mm-hmm.
Or Captain Planet, excuse me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Captain Planet's, I think, is a little different, since that was...
Yeah.
Sorry, I somehow, even though I was never a Captain Planet fan, somehow I know about the history of, like, TBS and Turner Broadcasting, where that was literally, like, Ted Turner's pet project, where he's like, no, we gotta tell the kids to protect the environment. So...
I mean, like, with Captain Planet, it wasn't, like, the last 30 seconds. That was the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's definitely a different vibe when that's, the by and large premise of the show, compared to, hey, wacky cartoon hijinks and or cartoon violence, but also at the end, respect your parents or whatever.
And I mean, without the public service announcement and the very special episodes, we wouldn't have great stuff like the Fensler films, and the G.I. Joe fake, fake ones, pork chop sandwiches.
Yeah. The lesson Sonic is teaching you in this one, though, is not to cross the road without looking, and then Tails proceeds to do that and nearly gets mowed down like an idiot. But Hedgehog's teaching you to watch both ways before crossing the road has been a thing in the UK for a very long time, because... well, they're certainly victims of that kind of behavior.
Yeah,
I know. I assume hedgehogs, the equivalent down here would be armadillos, but one of their favorite things is just to dive under car tires. It's their perfect pastime.
Squirrels around here.
What does it say about me that I see the truck heading at Tails, and immediately I just think,
oh no, Tails is about to get isekai'd. That's the real thing.
Truck-kun.
We're nowhere near City Escape.
Yeah.
It's funny because the pilot, I don't ever remember hearing any jokes in a Deke cartoon I would call edgy, but Sonic, pulling out the red cape for the bull robot and saying, like, I don't take any bull, even from a bull.
Yeah, I love the way he says it, too.
I know. Like we said, Jaleel White's got the sauce. I'm like, oh, man, now that's a vague reference to a swear word. And same with, at the end of the Sonic Says, saying, like, I don't want any of my friends ended up being road pizza. Like, oh, that conjures quite an image for like a 5-year-old child.
It's almost as if in the era of The Simpsons and Ren and Stimpy, everything just went out the window in that regard.
Pretty much. That scene where Tails turns himself inside out and swaps positions with his head and his butt, that was definitely where that came from.
I think I mentioned, like, before we started recording that I had to check whether or not pump and run is a euphemism for something, because Sonic does, sorry to pump and run. I'm like, oh, Sonic, well, okay.
Careful there.
One night shenanigans with Sonic the Hedgehog.
But yeah, that's basically the pilot, and I think that it does a really good job of kind of setting up for what the show is, even if I wish that there was a more, quote unquote, complete version of it for us to watch.
Yeah.
I know. I feel like if we really wanted to, or let me rephrase that again, in a world of free time, where I wasn't beat down by the world in large, I could see myself dipping into, my sound effects collection and finishing that up, and we could write some Adventures of Sonic score sounding music for that too. But
more than anything, it's like even at its lower quality, you can see how much gorgeous animation there is in this thing, and
absolutely,
the fact that we will only ever see it in this like sub SD state just breaks my heart.
Yep, I know Discotech did their best with their, their magical processes, but it still looks pretty rough. But it definitely worth watching, even the YouTube version.
Oh, by the way, quick side note, when I mentioned, that drill machine from the Breezy episode, I forgot that the actual name for it is the Egomatic Tunnelizer and Town Terrorizer, because of course that's what Robotnik would call it.
Doofenshmirtz before Doofenshmirtz.
So someday on this podcast, I want to watch like all of Breezy's episodes for one of these.
She's a character we always remember, and I think part of the reason I remember her so much is because I had that VHS with the 3 episodes, so...
I know it doesn't really look like Breezy, but there's also the fake blow up doll Sonic falls for in this episode.
Oh yeah.
We'll get to the heterosexuality of Sonic the Hedgehog in this and how
I know
it gets him into trouble.
The compet of Sonic the Hedgehog continues even in this first episode. And now we jump to the first official episode of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. I think you said this format was originally your pitch to us, Jake, because you said you had never seen the pilot for Adventures of Sonic, and I think it's a cool thing to look at, a thing that used to be more common in cartoons. Like we said, pilots are usually for, to pitch a show to a network or to advertisers. And like you've already said, sometimes they integrate the pilot into the show itself, like SatAM did. Other times it's like Adventures of Sonic, where it is wildly different and not really meant to be seen by somebody else. So now we're jumping to the one of my, I think by default, favorite episodes of Adventures of Sonic, because I had this one on a VHS tape. Mm-hmm. I think it was the only episode. There might have been another episode on those tapes. So I have watched this dozens, if not hundreds of times. Right. But this is Super Special Sonic Search and Smash Squad.
The first episode, Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, production-wise.
Yeah, first episode with an asterisk.
Yeah. Because this is not the first one to air in America, as I understand it. But
yes, this one aired as episode 23. The first one that aired was Best Hedgehog, which was the one with Robotnik holding the guy hostage before his wedding.
Oh, Lucas?
I didn't want to bring up his name.
We made the point earlier that Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog was supposed to be for syndication anyway, so it's except for nerds like us, there's not really any point for designating a first episode.
That is true, and they do present this in a way that it could play at any time because of the way it's bookended. But this was the one that played for us first in the UK, thankfully, because I remember I was excited to watch the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, man. They were pimping it out in STC all the time. I was like, a Sonic cartoon? Yes, please. I'm going to get up early before school. I can't remember what day it was on, but I remember watching it on Channel 4, possibly on The Big Breakfast, and it was like, yes, the Sonic cartoon. Can't wait for that. And actually, it's really good. I really it was like, this isn't quite the Sonic I know from the games or the comic, but it's a Sonic and it's a cartoon, so I'm happy.
So Chris, as a small British child, what was your first reaction to the first shot after the intro of the episode being Sonic's butt, just right there at the camera?
Well, I wasn't really acknowledging that at the time, because Sonic, unlike other characters in this show, Sonic the Hedgehog's ass doesn't really leave as much of an impression, because he doesn't really have one.
Which I can relate with him on that.
His spiky blue butt.
I feel like when you first start it up, though, it's like... and you've got like the you see the sun and the clock and everything, and you get the almost Masato Nakamura Sonic theme playing, and it's just close enough. Yes. You're like, yeah, that sounds about right.
So funny now.
I believe that the animator on that intro sequence was also Ed Love.
Oh yeah, that intro sequence is so fun. I mean, talk about just a bunch of like silly gags, like absolutely top tier.
It's hard to watch that and not know exactly what you're in for.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a series of the villains getting dismembered. I love it. I've always been a big fan of the whole, like, here's the main character scene, and then there's the villain scene, and I was like, hey, I know that song. That's the flipping... Well, I didn't know the name of it at the time, but it's the Hall of the Mountain King, which will be a recurring theme throughout this.
And then a little bit of Flight of the Bumblebees.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it establishes right here, like, the main characters for just about, well, most of the episodes. Sonic, Tails, Robotnik, Scratch and Grounder, and sometimes Coconuts.
And sometimes Coconuts.
And sometimes Coconuts. We'll talk about Coconuts soon enough.
Oh, what a guy. I know we do see here we have proper series Tails. He's brown and cream colored, and he's got his little boy voice, which, it's, man, I don't know. I guess they probably wouldn't have cast. I can't remember the child actor's name.
Christopher
it is
Welch.
really crazy how whoever voiced him in that pilot sounds like this little kid. I wonder if that was intentional.
It is interesting. Sorry. I do. The Christopher Welch, was it the voice of Tails? I do remember for the longest time there was this weird rumor about the fact that he died.
I did, which is why he wasn't in Sonic Christmas Blast.
Specifically, it's because another actor named Christopher Welch died, and everybody assumed that was the same Christopher Welch. And eventually, somebody actually did some digging, and it's like, nope, he's still alive. He's just living as a normal dude in Vancouver. He didn't do any other voiceover stuff.
Yep. Sonic fans have always been Sonic fans.
So everyone was eulogizing AOSTH Tails. Oh, I can't believe Tails is fucking dead. That seems
No, and he's really good in this series too for being like an actual child actor. I always like Adventures
One thing I
Tales.
do really like about this series, especially compared to like Sat AM, is that Tails has a much more active role and actually gets to like play off of Sonic and be, part of the thing instead of being the little baby child that has to stay home on the dangerous missions.
Oh man, yeah. I have not rewatched the episodes with Tails and of Sat AM. Tails is such a stupid baby in Sat AM. Like I couldn't imagine like, oh man, my favorite character is Tails. I love that he's Sonic's friend and he follows behind him and I play him in the games, and then watching Sat AM and being like, man, come on. You got nothing for me here.
For the most part, you're watching Sat AM and it's like, where the fuck is Tails? They left him at home with a babysitter because he's a baby.
He's at daycare playing with blocks, some other baby crap, Coco Melon on Mobius.
Oh yeah, in Robotnik's world, they would Robotropolis, they would be making Coco Melon because
Robotnik,
he's that kind of asshole.
Robotnik developing new Mobian brain rot to corrupt the children early.
Get them primed for roboticization.
Your content farm is ready, sir. Ooh, good snivelly.
Sonic, check it out. I stole Sally's tablet to play Robotniks.
Oh, no.
This person keeps messaging me. He wants to meet up.
My new robotic creation, the Ballerina Cappuccina. Oh, God, we sound so fucking old.
Oh, good thing we won't do something like do a Sonic the Hedgehog podcast or whatever. Anyway.
That might be cringe.
Can't be helped. Yeah, this episode first aired October 6, 1993, written by Bruce Shelley and Reed Shelley, who were also the story editors.
Yep.
And this show had like 4 or 5 different animation studios working on the different episodes. I believe this one, along with about maybe half the others, was specifically done by Rainbow Animation Group, who later renamed to Galaxy Digimation, and other stuff they were working around. I've seen Captain Planets, Chalk Zone, Time Squad, a couple Land Before Times, the Q video for that Spider-Man 3D Dark Ride at Universal.
Oh, wow.
And for the STC loving Chris's in the audience, the Mutant League cartoon.
Oh, interesting. I know that existed.
I think that it's more okay for this episode to have aired out of order than, say, the Underground initial 3-parter, because it's basically, the whole thing is framed as a flashback. Sonic and Tails get caught in a trap, and they decide to like distract Scratch and Grounder by telling the story of how they all met.
It's not meant to be funny, but I love when Sonic starts telling the story. He says,
"It all started before you were born."
Just the delivery and the absurdity of that.
It is quite wild to me that this cartoon does have, so many cartoons at the time is just like, here they are, here are the characters. But this one actually does give you an origin story, at least for the main villains, or at least the ones that are chasing Sonic all the time. So that's pretty cool. It's a bit more beyond than what you would see from a Wile E. Coyote style cartoon, that they've got some sort of continuity, at least a backstory.
I know. I don't think any of the Mario cartoons ever did that. I think the closest one in Super Show is the one where Koopa is like literally marrying the princess and invites his mother over, and you do kind of get the story of the original Mario Brothers game where he's turning the Toad citizens into blocks to build up the castle and whatnot.
Yeah, and Mario World would do that episode of Luigi telling Yoshi the bedtime story. That
seriously, how do you forget Mama Luigi? Mama Luigi! Mama!
That's Mama Luigi to you, Mario.
Wasn't there an episode of what? I can't remember if it was it the 3 cartoon where they actually went back in time to stop the Mario Brothers from going down the drain, like in the first Super Show? I feel like I remember that.
Maybe. I can't remember anything from that show that's not Milli Vanilli.
I know. Or Cutie Pie Koopa doing something fucked up.
Yeah, that's the main thing of most of those episodes. Cutie Pie, rarity from My Little Pony.
Yes.
Yeah, we get our flashback to Sonic and Tails coming to an supposedly abandoned village, but it's everybody in hiding because there is a local bounty hunters convention, and all of the robot bounty hunters are just like tearing through everything trying to get there.
I gotta ask, does Gary Chalk play like every incidental character? Okay, because he's
like he's definitely Dragon Breath for sure.
Yes, and it sounds like he's both of these women too that, it says, "We're hiding, you should hide too." And then the same woman who screams and runs from Dragon Breath.
I love that. It has the same energy of "my baby" in Sonic Boom later on, so it's timeless, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Which I might as well say it now. I love this goofy ass Badnik that I guess he's supposed to be. I mean, you said he's called Dragon Breath, but he looks like a weird rhino, and his goofy war kilt, and like you said, he has this funny foppish voice, and also the I'm pretty sure a stock scream before he gets crushed by a tree. I used to rewind on the VHS tape because I thought it was so funny.
You see his pants, you see his boxer shorts, and you're like, hey. Sorry, the only reason we know he's Dragon Breath is because, of course, they would recycle this design for a character in Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine again. Yeah. In fact, get ready to spot pretty much the entire cast of that game in this
literally
episode.
Every character in that game is in this episode.
Oh, he's so funny. People sure are very friendly in this town. And he just walks through the wall like the Terminator.
Do you know where the Bounty Hunters convention is?
Okay, what is this Bounty Hunters Convention logo supposed to be? Is it the world in a vice, or is it...
That's what I was wondering about. Or a hand grenade that's been gripped in a vice. I don't know.
Or like a net?
I don't know. A microphone?
Is it a net?
Oh, you're right, Jake. It is a net.
Yeah, it is a net.
Bounty Hunters get... Oh, my God. It's just drawn in the weirdest way possible.
The Bounty Hunter's first weapon of choice, a net.
Yeah, well, you can't put a gun, even a laser gun. That would be maybe inappropriate. But they're back in the circus tent from the pilot.
Hey, fellas, when we're done with the convention, come back to my place and I'll show you my net collection.
Okay, this initial pan of all these characters ends on this. It's the red guy, and I swear he's like a Deke Mega Man reject.
Yeah.
He's got a
like
scarf
that could be
and
Deke
everything.
Proto Man.
I want to see more of that guy in particular, because a lot of these designs you could totally see like having a bigger role in some other production or episode or whatever. I do want to particularly point out there's a guy that shows up in a decent number of these shots. Kind of looks like a little pig guy with angry eyes and kind of stitches on his head.
Oh yeah.
So that is very clearly based specifically on a Tezuka character. This is
okay.
Hyotanzuki, aka Gordsky.
Fun little homage, isn't it?
Like I said, they were very heavily drawing on Tezuka.
And it's funny, I said you couldn't use a gun when the Proto Man looking guy is holding a rifle.
Yeah.
Again, it's just drawn in the most abstract and weird way possible.
Yeah, standing next to the game show host in front of Spooky from Pac-Man World 2.
But I am glad that they're calling back to Tezuka because of, obviously his great influence on animation in general and his tendency to draw sexy rats in his free time. So I feel that's really in tune with Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog and all of that.
Hey, it's not like he hit it. Just look up, what is it? Boggy the Mighty and, oh gosh, what's the one movie with there's a full-on like lion transformation sequence. Like, hey, good for you, man. I love the little detail. I hesitate to use the word like, oh, we're establishing lore. But, Robotnik says that Sonic is the cause of his baldness because he tore all his hair out in frustration.
Beautiful hair.
One troublemaking teenager has made me tear every hair from my beautiful head.
And this is where we hear Long John Baldry as Robotnik for the first time. And that is a voice you cannot remove from this version of the character because we've talked about it before, but every time we have to bring it up because what a voice, man.
I know, right?
It's just that good. He hits the ground running 100 miles an hour and never slows down. So many funny little gags in this speech he's giving where Sonic's already snuck into the crowd and is also
I love that.
I always thought that was funny as a kid. But the top of Robotnik's head coming off and a tiny sign that says boo to cue the audience.
When I watched that as a kid, I was like, wait, is Robotnik a robot as well? But no, it's just a funny cartoon bit because it's a silly cartoon baby.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Game theory, is Robotnik actually a robot?
Oh, don't as a joke.
It's just jokes. Just jokes, man.
Also, like the first gag of him grinding his teeth so hard they just instantly shatter.
Yeah.
With hate tattooed on them.
I always wondered as a kid why the little pig guy pops up again right after he says, he wants Sonic alive or otherwise. But yeah, it's just the little Tezuka guy. That's funny.
Something about the way he says that, by the way, is just as horrifying as if he said alive or dead, because it's the way
even
that
more so.
Alive or otherwise.
getting around those censors.
Even the silliest lines can, have gravitas to them when delivered well by the right actor.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, another great Jaleel White Sonic is I love the question from the crowd. I'm worth way more than that.
That's not a question, Sonic.
But yeah, it's more of a comment.
Yeah. Oh God. Just to summon some primal memories of various very cringeworthy convention panels.
Oh yeah. I'll sympathize with Robotnik in the scene where he gets his mustache pulled by Sonic and starts crying just because I've had my mustache pulled and it's very sensitive and it hurts so bad. Usually by a baby. And I'm just like,
And to think he's got a big one there. Like, imagine just how much surface area is getting yanked by that thing.
All these goofy robot guys in the background, their voices. Okay, who is this dude with the, like, star fists and the, like, what is that? Some kind of, like, monk?
So, as it happens, that is also a character that showed up in Mean Bean Machine. Yep. That is Sir Fuzzy Logic.
Okay.
Goodness. I don't even know what his costume. Maybe he's supposed to be like a cartoony, like Mongol hordes costume with the big shouldered. Oh, I love those colors from Mean Bean Machine.
Yeah,
it's like he's got Sonic bumpers for his hands though, which I think is kind of cool.
And just however they did the crowd vocals here, the guys they're going, you know, we got him.
Yeah.
Over and over, you will hear like the phrases like "get him," "pulverize him," overlaid over each other over and over again, which is just 90s.
And then, like, after Sonic runs around a little bit, my favorite joke in all of Sonic media, where he goes up to the green robot and just says, "I'm over there."
I'm over there.
It's it's so stupid, and I love it so much.
And I love this guy with the big lower jaw. He's almost got like Guts Man face.
Yeah, it's very Guts Man.
And then they just run over him and kill him.
I'm over there
forever.
And then, the next about 5 minutes or so is just some really funny, like, Wile E. Coyote bits with all of these random, goofy, the guys from Mean Bean Machine. It's all of them. Stupid bicycle pump robot.
Well, one of that's Dynamite.
Yeah, that's Dynamite.
So he's actually a Dynamite with a plunger, I guess. He does explode and I don't know how much
Dynamite,
they like
Squeal, and Frankly.
I don't know how much they consulted with the actual creators of AOSDH when they named them and came up with personalities for them. But
worth pointing out.
It's cool seeing them, seeing their origin, because then there's arms, and we will, as of the Sonic shorts and Sonic shit, establish a personality for him, that's for sure.
That is not of your concern.
Our lasers.
Also, just, another great Dragon Breath moment of, everyone split up and find him.
Yeah. Split up and surround him.
That's it, yeah. Surround him.
I mean, it's the perfect, probably just told Gary, just do a voice, man. And just went with the first thing that came to mind.
It works, though. It's not the voice
great.
you'd expect from this character, but I love it.
Yep.
This is the thing, though. Throughout all of this, Sonic he's mugging at the camera, he's tricking the guys, he's on top of everything because he's the coolest dude around. And as someone who's actually been rewatching original first season Sonic X just recently, I don't think this Sonic is too much different from that. Like, I feel like people often dunk on this version of Sonic, but there's something about him. The attitude is great. It's right there. He's goofing. He's literally talking to the audience sometimes. There's plenty of that, and I don't know. I really enjoy this version of Sonic.
I think that a lot of that same attitude is there. Maybe Sonic X Sonic is a little bit less impatient or, constantly on the move as Adventure Sonic, but you can see how they would both result from this same origin point.
Yeah.
They're not quite as, obviously this version of Sonic is a lot more of a motor mouth than Sonic X Sonic, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know, man. I'm Sonic X Sonic was... God, he's a bit of a dick in that show sometimes, actually. Have you ever seen this? I'm going to cherry pick some scenes from Sonic X to show off and be like, what a dick Sonic is in this show.
Why is Sonic so mean? But Sonic X Sonic is, I feel like his defining trait is cool, whereas Adventure Sonic, he's also cool in his own way, but more so just wacky.
He's Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's a Bugs Bunny.
Much.
He dresses up, he makes elaborate pranks.
He kisses Robotnik straight on the lips.
Exactly. So if he does that, we can't always claim, toxic heterosexuality or whatever.
Compulsive heterosexuality.
That's it, compulsive.
Yeah. I will say, Sonic does the bit with William Tell, and I know it's the theme song, but having him whistle Hall of the Mountain King instead of the William Tell Overture is a missed opportunity.
That's great.
Yeah.
A lot of really fun gags of Sonic taking down all of these bounty hunters one by one. And that is what inspires Robotnik to create his 2 perfect creations designed specifically for capturing Sonic. And another interesting case, this scene with everything from, putting the stuff in the machine up until the end of the creation sequence, we actually have unfinished animation from this that got out there, and that's also on the Blu-ray set with Milton Knight doing commentary.
Oh, cool.
Just the early production rush where it's the vocal track, but no sound mixing, no sound, no music, no, like, a lot of the color correction has not been done. There's a couple of layering errors and stuff. But it's really interesting to see this unfinished workprint version of this scene. And Milton Knight says that he did storyboards on this entire sequence. In fact, Sonic was actually his second cartoon job ever, like right after doing layouts and some character designs on Cool World of all things.
Oh, wow.
Hey.
In fact, that movie was where he met Kent Butterworth, who would hire him on for Sonic not long after that movie wrapped.
Wow.
Cool.
That is something
No,
else.
Cool World.
And
yeah.
I love I love this whole sequence because it's just some great... I mean, like, on paper, in a script, it's like, Robotnik tosses a bunch of stuff in the machine, but he's mugging the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
Baldry is providing, like, reactions. You've got some classic, like, noises from him going. I mean, some iconic freeze frames of him in the motorboard holding the diploma, and oh man,
the graduation hat. I'm just imagining a million YouTube poops just from that alone.
The goofy little dance he does in the wife shot.
Yeah.
I love it.
It might just be me, but when he's describing all of the ingredients he's putting into this machine, him wearing a gas mask, cracking open 2 rotten eggs to make them supremely rotten like me. The part of me is like, is that a Bible thing?
Yeah, I thought that too.
It feels like some Martin Adams ass from Robotnik, so maybe.
All of the stupid junk that comes out of the eggs too. It's so much. It's one of those that wraps around into being funny again.
Yeah.
I love the stupid music playing during all this as well. The I really like the music in this show.
And then Scratch is born with his pussy fully popped.
Sorry, just as he's born, as it's like coming out, and Robotnik just pulls that face like, it's like enjoy as creation.
It's funny how funny Scratch is right out the bat. Like, he's like cowardly for a bit, but I love how that voice, that irreplaceable Scratch voice.
Oh yeah, Phil Hayes just killing it this whole time.
The coughs, the weird noises he's making. It's like, oh man, here we go.
This is a guy who's like, oh, you want me to voice a chicken, do you? Gotcha. And Phil Hayes just jumps in and gives us a chicken.
I've been waiting for this
Phil
my
Hayes
whole life.
Perhaps I made you 2 chicken.
Phil Hayes is like partial, like he's actually a British actor originally.
Yes.
He's British Canadian, and I didn't know that growing up. But now I know that. There's every so often I hear the accent slip a little bit. I'm like, oh yeah, that reminds me of when I'm ever doing an American accent.
I find it very funny that Phil Hayes and Gary Chalk would basically do this exact same buddy dynamic with Hack and Slash in season 1 of Reboot, like years later.
Interesting.
Oh, you're not even wrong. Yep. Oh, there's Robotnik giving, speaking of YouTube poops, the very clean take of, no!
I'm going to clone you.
Just another, like, again, on paper, and then Robotnik walks across the room with Scratch, explaining to him the process. And the animation, the music kicks in, they're goose-stepping the entire time.
Well, I love that,
man.
like, Scratch doesn't know anything because he's just been born, so he is just mimicking what he sees Robotnik do.
Yep.
I think that's a great little touch.
Just because he's just been born and he's terrified, just like, oh, where am I? Where am I? What am I doing here?
I can't stand pain.
He has that whole thing where his head retreats into his body, as chickens are known to do. I mean, maybe it's to emulate a chicken with his head cut off, I guess. Like the chicken with his head cut off.
This was one of the lines I never caught as a kid, but then listening to it again, when Robotnik pulls the feather from him, does he go, ouch a doodle? Ouch a doodle!
He sure does.
Sounds like it.
And
okay.
He sure does, and that was not in the workprint version. And Milton Knight said that he actually wrote that line in and wasn't sure if it got used in the final episode, just reviewing the workprint,
hilarious.
and it sure did.
That's so good.
I thought as a kid he was saying like ouch a dodo, or like referring to the feather he pulled out, but no, he's saying ouch a doodle like a chicken rooster would.
Yeah.
Makes me think of legendary and unforgettable Don Bluth Rockadoodle.
Not the first time it's been brought up on this podcast.
Oh, I
And
bet.
it won't be the last.
Adequate pipe.
So like, it's also fun looking at the workprint version, because like this next scene where Robotnik is pushing the levers and Scratch points out, he forgot one. There was a layering error on that one where Scratch's feet were in front of the lever, and that got fixed for the final version. So it's cool seeing, the little changes and fixes made between revisions.
Robotnik turning into the steam whistle.
Yeah.
That's so good. Didn't mean to pull that lever.
Oh, man.
What's one of the funniest parts for me is after Scratch accidentally, pulls that lever without thinking, and Robotnik yells at him. We cut away to Grounder being mage on the conveyor belt, and then cut back to Robotnik, and he's immediately got like a spiked club and is grabbing Scratch by the neck, ready to bludgeon him to death.
Caveman ass Fagomorph club.
Bunga bunga.
I can't remember if it's consistent through the series, but in this episode, I love anytime Robotnik does a big smile, you see how like crooked and nasty his teeth are.
Yeah.
Sometimes one of them's missing, like just for the joke.
But grinded his teeth so hard at the beginning.
Ostensibly, sorry, we don't get into it, but I guess I suppose we did before, but ostensibly Scratch, Grounder, and Coconuts are all like badniks from the games, except for Scratch is just like a loose interpretation, I guess, of the Cluckoids from Wing Fortress Zone. But Grounder is straight up like a badnik from the game. So when I was watching, I was like, oh, Grounder, like in Aquatic Ruin Zone, except he's green now and he's got a chunky ass.
The two things that he was missing, really.
Like his eyes look like, what is it, like a meter? Like a gas meter. Yeah, gauges.
Yeah.
Like he's got like a little fuel tank gauge on his tummy, and then his irises are drawn like fuel gauges or oil gauges.
He's got big
and
eyebrows.
his like Swiss Army knife tongue, I always thought was a funny gag. You see that random rock in the middle of Robotnik's base there, and you're like, well, that's going to move in just a second.
Yeah, like anything that is not painted on is like, you're just waiting at that point.
I remember watching, like, as a kid, Scooby-Doo, and then realizing, like, what was going to move in a scene and what wasn't based by, like, the color of it. Like, oh, I understand now.
Yep.
Oh, I can't remember. There's that, I think it's like a mystery detective OVA that has that whole sequence where it's the man and his assistant, and he's like, hold on, don't step there. Look, that's painted on a separate animation.
Oh,
set.
yeah.
It's about to move.
Stop, sir! Don't walk that way!
What's wrong, Takeuchi?
Take a look at the ground.
Huh? Oh, the ground's drawn on an animation cell. You did a great job. Thank you for finding it. They did a really complicated animation sequence there. Hey, director, this ground was drawn on a cell.
It was easier to do it this way than to cut the foreground out of cardboard.
I don't want to hear excuses. Let's be off.
Yeah, I love that, Scratch starts off very cowardly, and, he hits the lever by accident because he's like, how was I supposed to know? I was just born.
Yeah.
I was just hatched because he's a chicken.
Yeah, as soon as he has a identical twin brother, let's say, he's immediately, establishing dominance, and all of the cowardice fades away because he has something to prove now.
Well, he's the older brother now, so it's like, this newcomer.
It is funny that that is their whole relationship is fighting siblings.
And after he kicks the rock at Grounder immediately goes to town on his ass with his drill nose.
Right in the cloaca. God, Robotnik and this table he just chucks at him. What a great sequence.
I'm sorry, listening audience, that we are basically doing a moment-by-moment analysis of this scene in particular.
Again, you can watch it for free on YouTube. Pull it up yourself.
But this stuff is like burned into my brain from overwatching it as a child. So every moment just rings with clarity to me.
You know what, audience? Watch the episode with us while we're going over it. Do that.
Yeah. And you get another great bit from Baldry as Robotnik is off screen where he just goes, charlatans! Right before Coconuts pops his head out of the bathroom.
The one thing I would have done in this episode is to cut out the Coconut subplot and just focus on Scratch and Grounder trying and failing to catch Sonic. I feel like this is Coconut's kind of popping in from off screen to literally explain his role in the show feels a little too, tell don't show to me. I would have had a second episode where Coconuts is demoted and then decides he's going to catch Sonic first and makes that the focus.
I guess they just want to introduce everyone for this one of the main cast.
He also says his own name really weird. I don't know if it's a recording issue, but it almost sounds like he says, me, Cokins. But no, that nuts is there. You just have to listen really, really close.
All of that said, I love Coconuts so much.
Yeah. This is a great sequence coming up, too.
The reimagining of his design to be like, it's a Coconuts from Sonic 2, but he looks like he's got overalls built into him and he's got like a light bulb on his head. I don't know, there's something about the character design that really speaks to me. And Ian James Corlett, I think, is playing him.
Yep.
That little voice that he gives him is so good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, another guy who's just been in hundreds, if not thousands, of cartoons.
Ultra Gear.
Got a million of them. Yep. I always did love Coconut's design, and I love the game design too, with their cute little muzzles. But I do love how they interpreted that and made him more monkey-like. And I mean, he looks more like a Mickey Mouse monkey than like the cute little Japanese robot. And I think he really works in this show.
There's 50 bathrooms in the fortress, and they're all backed up. I hate this job.
And there's only one guy that uses them. It's not fair.
Why does he need so many? It's ridiculous. Everywhere he goes, he's gonna take another one, and I'm right there with my plunger.
He's over regular.
I don't even blame Sonic and Tails for falling for this chili bit stand gambit, because if you come across a random tiny food stall shaped like food, you're about to get the best food of your life.
Oh, is that a thing
it's
over
the food
there?
Truck rule.
Another blue arm.
Yep.
Well, when it's a distant shot, the quality control doesn't have to be as high, I guess.
Yeah. I do like Coconuts' Master Roshi chef disguise before he transforms.
I also like the first shot we see of Coconuts with him like leaning over but it's from his back side, like on the wall to the right. It's a spool of hot dogs.
Yeah, it's a spool of sausage
the links.
You just have like a crank wheel where you can just.
I mean, those will come back.
The initial shot from behind of Coconuts is some great cartooning, because there he is, hunched over on a stool so he can reach the oven. The bubbling cauldron of chili with black smoke pouring out, like wafting out of it. So much stuff going on, and there's this little monkey with a beard.
And I mean, a great sequence where this stand transforms into this giant. I'm just going to call it a mecha.
Yeah.
No. If this was one of the Sonic games on DS, you would have to this thing would take up both screens.
Oh yeah. And that boss fight would be playing. Whoop, 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 whoop. Is is what Coconut says right before he starts chasing him a reference to something, because he says, what? I was polite. I was reasonable. You forced me to do this.
It does sound like
it
a
feels
reference
like
to
it must be, because it comes out of nowhere.
Unless he's just referencing his predicament in general, like he wouldn't go this hard if Robotnik hadn't have demoted him.
I mean, they kind of established that he's not all there, so he's a little bit nuts.
I'm trying to. Is that like a reference to? It's not like to Taxi Driver or something, is it? I don't know.
I think it's funny that they had one interaction here. He was like, "All right, that's it. Gloves are off. I'm pissed."
Who are you?
Just immediate.
For some reason, he keeps his bounty hunting hat in a locked safe.
Actually, where did this machine come from? I know it's a cartoon for kids. Is it like one of Robotnik's? Did Coconuts make it? Is Coconuts actually secretly a genius? Like a mechanic?
I mean, if you want a real answer, like you've said before, the real answer is don't think about it too hard, but he probably just dug this out of like the warehouse with all the other, as an abandoned Robotnik robot himself. He probably... He's got to crawl all over the fortress cleaning bathrooms. He knows where all the junk is.
That's true.
This is also where we get the gag of him kissing the Robotnik picture.
Yeah.
And it grimacing. I mean, it's almost a Yosemite Sam gag, hat and all, where he pulls like the arcade gun and starts shooting all the big cannons at Sonic and Tails.
Yeah.
And it's just silly enough to where it's not scary.
I do like Sonic's line of like, "That's the last time we buy chili dogs from that guy."
I also like the animation on the gun barrels they're not just still, they're like flinging the bullets at them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like they're pitching.
Just a good animation touch, yeah. And that's what I call the missing links.
All of this is like in front of the most Wile E. Coyote desert background you can think of. Just even more like slightly abstract. It ain't some Sonic stuff like in the pilot, but it's I can understand people not liking the look of this, but I feel like it was not just a budget thing. I feel like they were going for a very specific look with this.
I definitely think so. I think it's probably a combination of those. It's like, you can just tell that they didn't have a ton of budget to work with, but they wanted to do something crazy silly like this.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason the what is it? One of the first shots, you see the sky and there's like the sun or the moon and a whole bunch of other like silly stuff, because this is like an alien world. So I agree. I think a lot of it was intentional.
I think maybe some of it is pulling from like those early Western art of Sonic. Like I'm just thinking of like the early image. It wasn't even a Greg Martin, technically speaking, but the early image of Sonic in that sort of Green Hill Marble Zone, and everything looks a bit weird in that. The way they've interpreted Sonic's world. So I feel like they would like, okay, so Sonic lives in a weird alien world. Okay, well, we'll make it abstract and strange and have scribbles in the sky. I get it.
I don't know if probably not, but if any of the people working on the pre-production for the show saw it. But I mean, I think of like the Sonic 1 pre-release with the UFOs in the background and all the crazy stuff there. So I honestly don't think it's that out of place. People, and when I say people, I mean like the vocal minority of people who don't like Adventures of Sonic at all, and that's fine. That's their prerogative.
And to be fair, it's like it's the 90s. Cartoons were getting a bit strange and abstract again. I think of I guess visually it kind of reminds me a little bit of like Rocko's Modern Life as well, where everything was a little bit ugly and strange.
I think Joe Murray might have worked on a couple of episodes.
Well, there you go, It's not a bug, it's a feature. That's what they're going for with this.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of like the kind of surrealist environments in like, very old comics like Crazy Cat or something.
Another sequence that doesn't actually need to be here, but I'm glad it is Scratch taking the time to illustrate, like storyboard the plan to show Grounder. Like he could have just said it in the same time, but no, I love the goofy little caricatures he comes up with.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I love that he's got a little beret, a metal beret on his hand.
Because he's an artiste.
And even the little caricature of Grounder still has a big giant butt.
Yeah, of course, naturally. That's how you know it's him.
We get again a rule of funny powers for both Scratch and Grounder here, that Scratch can turn his fingers into scissors, and if Grounder needs to, he can turn his hand into a pumpkin to throw at Sonic. Yeah. I mean, I know it's the whole joke, but the funny thing about if Sonic hadn't grabbed the rope after Scratch let go, the same thing would have happened.
Yeah.
Scratch let go of it too early. And then Grounder dies.
You know, it's the most basic cartoon thing of, oh, here's a fake environment, they're going to crash into it. But no, they don't. Mm-hmm. It's actually the person who set it up who did. Whatever. It works because they're idiots.
Yeah, they're going full Wile E. Coyote.
Yes.
I know, and it leads to I'm sure I've referenced it multiple times on shows that had nothing to do with Adventures of Sonic, but leads to one of my favorite jokes, which is, good thing Dr. Robotnik made me so persistent. And he said, he made me persistent. He made you too dumb to quit. Which is, I just think, an actual really funny joke.
I love how freaked out Scratch gets when Grounder crashes into the wall and his severed head just falls in front of him.
What makes it worse is it looks like it's the top half of his head.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like the whole bottom jaw is gone.
Yeah, like Sean William Scott in the first Final Destination.
I was thinking of that. Jesus.
My brother.
That is how Grounder's head is designed, and I wonder if even the animators like that, because it's easier to do his lip flaps when he's, you just stick his mouth on the side. Hey, like a Sonic character. But here we get Sonic falling for the not... okay, I don't think I've put this together. The colors are unique to this show. This blow-up doll, there's no other word for it, kind of looks like the pre-release Freedom Fighters fish-kissing Sally art.
A little bit.
It's like a weird, like, you could see how it's almost like the in-between, like this design from that pre-release art to Sad AM Sally.
Well, it's pink
but I mean,
Sally,
it's kind of all there, yeah. This flesh-colored dirty blonde Sally. Which again is a blow-up doll on Scratch's hand.
Sonic cannot control his hormones in front of this surprisingly realistic inflated woman.
Knowing the Sonic fandom, I'm surprised I've never seen fan art of this blow-up doll.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I got to get on that now. Got to fill a need within the fandom.
Be the change you want to see in the world.
Exactly.
And we have one of the first Sonic putting on a Bugs Bunny disguise to mess with the bad guys.
But before that, when Sonic first bursts out of the ground and Scratch and Grounder look in the ground or look in the hole, like they just draw like actual butt cheeks for Grounder.
Just want a Buenos Dias Grounder right there.
Yeah, with his X14 license plate.
Yeah, I love that license plate.
I feel like this plan would have succeeded. If not for, Sonic dinging him out. Clearly what they should have done is just like go full Mortal Kombat continue screen on this, stick spikes at the bottom. It's on them for not, finishing the job they started.
I feel like this Sonic, even with like punji stick spikes, could have done the little ballerina landing on top of the spike.
But instead he uses his triple spin to escape, and I'm not sure where that naming came from. Why is it a triple? How many of them does it require to do? I don't know.
I don't actually know. Oh, wait, no. Triple S. Does he say it in Sad AM? It's supersonic spin.
That makes sense.
Spin.
It's like a triple spin.
I can't remember where I saw that first, though. I think Archie picked up on it eventually, but yeah, it's supersonic spin.
And then Sonic does a Bugs Bunny disguise, and sorry, I love the fact he's wearing a doctor's outfit, a stereotypical doctor's outfit with a big nose, but then he takes a moment to lift up the disguise for the audience, just in case the kids didn't realize who the doctor with the blue spikes and red sneakers was.
It's cute. I like it. And then he calls Tails over, who's got the construction equipment, which is also funny. Although I always noticed, even as a kid, there should be a whistle there. He puts his fingers in his mouth to do the, that whistle, and they forgot to put one there. Oh, well.
God. Oh, yeah, you're right. It's not there. That's fine.
Yeah.
But, sometimes when you try to do it, it just doesn't happen, Our guys. But we do get to look at their big, disgusting human-like tongues for longer than we need to.
And then they do the thing that all great villains trying to hurt Sonic the Hedgehog do, is they kidnap and threaten to kill one of his good friends. Poor Tails.
Yeah, it turns out it's really easy to catch Tails. Even Grounder can do it. He's just a bit dim. Actually, all the characters in the scene are dim. But
this is true.
Sorry, the shot of Tails in the
medieval stocks.
Yeah, the medieval stocks. He just sits there limp for a second.
There is something funny about, like, Sonic is in a golden cage and Tails is in the stocks. I guess they just didn't have enough of the same restraining tools.
4.5 years old in this show, as he says several times.
Yeah.
This poor child is going to be pelted by rotten vegetables by villagers for his crimes.
Oh, and Coconuts comes back.
Yeah, like, again, this plan absolutely would have succeeded if not for, it's not Scratch and Grounder getting tricked by Sonic or anything. It's them literally getting sabotaged.
Yeah.
Sonic says, oh, you better put Scratch and Grounder in this cage with me. They might get loose. And of course, being the fastest hedgehog alive, zips out as soon as he opens the door.
Yeah, Sonic did not have to try here.
It's relatively effortless.
I love the gag where Sonic and Tails whip up the dust storm and Sonic plays the air traffic controller and, asks Robotnik, do you see the red light? And it's Tails like a foot in front of his face with a flashlight with a little filter on it. It's so funny. Tails looks so happy.
But yes, they trick Robotnik into coming crashing down onto the cage full of badniks.
All the badniks fucking die.
They're super dead. They're super fucking dead.
The worst part is Scratch's head hung up on a pike like a Game of Thrones character.
It's a robot. He's fine.
Yeah, remember that episode in the Chaos Emerald multi-parter where Scratch was like, I wish I was a real chicken? Probably a good thing he wasn't.
Right.
Here's something the kids might not understand is sometimes when you called a phone number, there would be an error and a mysterious voice would summarize that error for you, like the voice does.
Well, as it says, the robot you're trying to connect to has been discombobulated. I'm like, hang on.
Yep. I like that Robotnik's his voice is so strained. He's like, pick up the phone.
Actually, there's some great, like, Robotnik stuff we kind of glossed over. I do remember when they say, Dr. Robotnik, we caught Sonic. Of course you have. I'll be right there so you can congratulate me. I love that so much. Yep. But
I feel like there's another episode where they're using Grounder's famous tummy phone and Robotnik on the other end is just like gibberish, but instead of like, it's
oh yeah.
It's so good.
Is it the train episode?
I think it is. Yep. Isn't that also Da Bear's episode?
Yes. Yep. That was the one VHS I had that I watched over and over again.
Jeez.
I'm always remembering the part where I think because recently I remember this bit there. Scratch is like, okay, Dr. Robotnik's calling. Don't tell him what happened.
Yeah.
Hello? I think he knows.
So, I mean, I think the silliest reveal at the end of this is like, Sonic didn't even have to tell this story because, of course, he just spins out of the trap him and Tails are in, and the robots, the dumb bots, fall all over themselves before the show Iris is out. Is it Scratch that says, I hate that story?
Yeah.
So
maybe
silly.
Sonic was just hanging out because he was getting like a good spine decompression hanging there.
Yeah.
The thing about Sonic, and despite this being another Julia White's Deke Sonic show, Sonic here is almost always in control, except for when his hormones take over. He can just get out of just about any situation.
Or when, they're threatening to kill one of his friends.
Less of an actual character. Yeah. And that's That's just Sonic
Yeah.
for you in this show, and that's fine. Unlike Sat AM Sonic, who's a big dumb idiot.
Yeah.
But that's fine too, because he's a character in that show.
Yeah.
And this is the Bugs Bunny Wile E. Coyote cartoon, so this Sonic works too.
It's really just to say at the end of this first official production episode, you can see how they were setting up like the biggest parts in the pilot, and the show itself just expanded upon that exponentially. And I mean, if in case you couldn't tell, like I still really like this show.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm fully agreeing that it is a lot of my nostalgia, but I do think a lot of these jokes land when you just want to watch a silly Sonic cartoon.
If you're willing to meet it halfway, you'll have a good time.
And that's not, we haven't even talked about the first official Sonic says
Yes, where Sonic says, don't call 911 when somebody's trying to kidnap you.
Exactly. Well, to be fair, I guess the context is for Sonic it's fine, but like you're not telling kids, oh, don't call the cops if people surround you. It's fine. Just beat their asses.
I mean, he does clarify, say if there's a fire or someone's trying to break into your house or someone's hurt, if someone's hurt, that's when you call 911. Which I wonder if this one, if that was part of the decision to cut these over in the UK, because it wouldn't be 911.
Oh, maybe
there.
So. Yeah,
that's also
999 here. So
I wouldn't think they would invest in the. Yeah, can we get a pickup, a re-record? Just have him say 999 one more.
Can you pull
instead?
Jaleel away from Family Matters for 5 seconds? Oh no! Well,
oh no, we'll just cut the whole thing.
If only there was some evidence that splicing together audio clips from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog episodes could alter their meaning somehow, but I don't know that.
I know. I mean, they could have just done that. Call 999.
It would take them 9 year-reels to figure it out.
That is another. I mean, like I guess I can say nostalgia, since the golden age of YouTube poop is almost old enough to vote now. Jeez, but that is also part of why I still really like this show. Is picturing all those extra jokes and full length music videos that have been pieced together from this show.
Yeah.
That is this major legacy. I mean, to be fair, like, there's a big legacy within Sonic itself, what this has done, and I don't want people to discount that, because, hey, Scratch and Grounder existing is the reason we have Orbot and Cubot now, and so many other little things that
absolutely.
have led to what Sonic is now, surprisingly so, for this, like, piece of media that is just, like... I mean, like, you don't see shit from the Super Mario Brothers Super Show in Mario in any way whatsoever, but
absolutely
there is stuff from here that I think has, like, lasted the test. Hell, you know what? Deco and Boko, I feel like, even if it's unintentional, those feel like a Scratch and Grounder. So, I don't know, they really set the standard for what Sonic is.
I don't know why you would associate those two sets of characters together. It seems a little stretch.
Well, even though the designs for Deco and Boko are borrowed from that other Tatsunoko anime, but the concept of Robotnik having a doofy little sidekick, I'm 100% willing to give to the English USA British side of Sega at the time. And yes, absolutely why we have that dynamic with Deco and Boko, with the proto Orbot in Sonic Unleashed, and yes, Orbot and Cubot now. Eggman does well when he has somebody to play off of.
Right.
And my favorite are still these dumb bots.
Yeah, I still love this show. Like, you know exactly what you're getting when you go into it. And I feel like both of these pilots really do a good job of kind of establishing exactly what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And it is interesting to watch these two back to back and see just how much of that pilot DNA is in the original, in the first episode, even if like not every specific thing, like, the broad strokes did carry forward with, Robotnik and the bounty hunters, going after Sonic. And, obviously little bits and pieces from that pilot would inspire things in later episodes. But like, it is so interesting to me to see like the vision was there right from the start.
Which is funny because this is, as we mentioned, is the show that they did as a sort of backup plan.
Yeah.
And yet here we are. It's memorable in its own way.
Yeah.
Straight into the moneymaker that was syndication at the time. I really, looking at these, the only thing I wish they would have taken more from the pilot is just, I think more game stuff would have slotted right into Adventures of Sonic pretty easy.
Yeah.
I mean, that is
Like-
always the thing you want with any of the 90s Sonic adaptations.
Yeah.
More
Yes.
game material.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure sometime now after we've done this, we'll do the Sat AM one. Sat AM just ended up being so much of its own thing that every time they did something game adjacent, it like stood out in a weird way.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like we make fun of the horrifically designed like background characters and adventures a lot. If all of those were just like, you know, the bunny rabbits in the pilot, or like their versions of the Mobinis, or Sonic's little friends, whatever you want to call them, I think that would have been nicer than like, you know, some of the designs we got. Like, as much as I like the music maker episode, the design on the cat country singer is kind of horrific.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Kitty Carlisle could have used another take or two.
But otherwise, I mean, yeah, it's Adventures of Sonic. It's still really funny to me. I like it, and I think the pilot was a good preview of what they would turn the whole show into.
And hey, if it wasn't for this first episode, we wouldn't have had the entire cast of Mean Bean Machine. And
Yep.
That's true.
Yes.
That is ultimately this episode's and maybe this show's biggest legacy is a game
It's
that
living
Sega
legacy.
just puts into literally any compilation they can.
And then it's interesting, yeah, those guys have sadly more of a legacy than fucking Snively into actual official Sonic media. Isn't that strange?
Strange, isn't it?
Not saying the concept of Snively, but Snively, the real character in Sat AM, deserves.
Maybe. Snively, the real person.
got his big takeover in season 3 of Sat AM canceled, you little wiener.
I'm not alone.
I'm not alone! Look at these eyes! They're gonna mean something eventually! What? They're not? Oh, shit.
Read the comics.
Scratch and Grounder are in a game? What?
Cluck was in Sonic Spinball!
Fucking Cluck!
And what is a Deco and Boko?
Listen, folks, I get it. It's the funny YouTube poop one. It looks kind of ugly. It's tangential to the games at best. I just check it out if you can. I think I've someone who's been watching a lot of really shit Hanna-Barbera cartoons lately. This stuff is still fun, you know. Like I don't know. I guess it really is nostalgia for me to a point, because I do remember like getting up early in the morning in front of the telly to watch the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon, because I'm going to take in everything that's Sonic related. It's really memorable to me, and I feel like the idea of this is just... God, I feel like we could have more... I mean, even if they're shit, I feel like we could have more video game cartoons out there, just to expand the cultural, I don't know, understanding, or at least the cultural knowledge that these games exist. Because sometimes you need to condense things down to a stupid cartoon.
Just for the love of Christ, don't give it to Man of Action.
Well,
they've had their fucking chances.
I think that if anything, the spirit of this cartoon lives on in like the web shorts they are still creating for a lot of the Sonic newer
absolutely.
games. Like stuff like the Chow in Space video has a lot of that same Adventures of Sonic energy, or, you know, the one they did for Team Sonic Racing back in the day. Just a lot of that, you know, chaotic slapstick. And, you know, I think that even if the show and the specific concepts it introduced aren't around, it still has a lot of influence on Sonic to this day. And I think that it is an important part of that legacy for, you know, better or worse and everything in between.
And no matter how you look at it, it is a cartoon about Sonic and Tails fighting Robotnik and his robots. I mean... There's your Sonic right there. That's what you need.
Exactly, yeah.
Especially back in the 90s. And I feel like sometimes that's what they get back. Whenever they get back to, hey, it's Sonic and Tails and they're fighting Robotnik. I don't know, that just feels right to me. And that was the Sonic of the time, and this was it condensed down into a really weird way. But hey, it's Sonic, man.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care that it's weird. It's still Sonic to me. Sonic was weird.
He's over there.
Wiser words have never been uttered.
Yeah, I mean, like, I got to just echo what everybody else says in the fact that, like, I actually didn't get a chance to grow up watching this, like, when it was airing on TV, because I guess I just missed all of it. But I did get to see, you know, either through Blockbuster or just buying VHSs, I got to see some of the episodes growing up later as, like, a slightly older child. And, you know, like, we mentioned, like, in an official capacity, the greatest legacy is for Mean Bean Machine, but in an unofficial, it's just, you know, of course, all the YouTube poops. And the fact that I can, like, open up Instagram on my phone and, like, look through Reels or look through the search options, and, like, occasionally a Sonic YouTube poop because of my algorithm will show up on Instagram. Like, it just shows that it's still such a long-lasting thing that people still enjoy. And yeah,
people still do. They still make them.
Yeah,
it's one. Sonic AOSTH is one of the totems of YouTube pooping. If you're gonna do it, that's one of the ones you pull from. It's this and, like, the Zelda CDI, I think, and maybe some of the other thing. But yeah, like,
King of the Hill.
It's so yeah, and King of the Hill, of course. Those are the three major totems of YouTube poops.
Yeah.
Well, that does it for this episode of The Hill is Always Greener. You can find us on the web as Sonic F Series on YouTube and Blue Sky and all those places. You can find me on Blue Sky at jeremybaker.actor and around the rest of the internet as Game Buddy, sometimes with a 123.
And you can find me all across the internet, except for the bad sites, which people still occupy for some reason, but I'm not on them. You can find me on the slightly less bad ones at Faulero. That's Faulero.
Love that jingle. You can find me across the internet as Rock the Jake, and you can find me on twitch.tv as Mr. Rock the Jake.
And you can find me at all sorts of places at Cyberlink420.
And as always, a special thanks to Amy Waters for the use of our theme song from the album Gotta Go Slow. You can check out more of her work on YouTube and Bandcamp. And as always, remember to share the show, just spread it around. Hey, if you also have nostalgia for Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, tell us about it.
Yes,
and
please.
if you don't, tell us why not. And if you hate the show, I mean, be nice, but you can explain it. I kind of want to know why. Be nice though, I swear to God.
Yeah, just, if you don't like the show, tell us about it and just never talk to me after.
On our next episode, my goodness, am I reading this right? We are going back to the Sonic the Comic gold mines with Enter Knuckles, which was their adaptation of Sonic 3. And I haven't read it in a while, but I'm going to tell you it's better than the Archie one. I'll tell you that for free.
This is one of the, like, gold standard adaptations in Sonic the Comic, and I am so excited to dig in deep on it.
Because it's funny because we have we have gone into the Sonic the Knuckles part of it before when we were talking about the Death Egg, but now we're getting into where it all began for the not quite red at the time the character that was entering the franchise.
We'll get into that.
Yep, I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to Jake reading it for the first time again, I'm sure, and making lots of references to Sonic the Comic, the podcast, which you should also listen to in conjunction with this. But until then, I'm Game Buddy.
I'm Faulero.
I'm Rock the Jake.
And I'm Cyberlink, and guess you guys won't be staying for a second show.
And they fell to their deaths.
Yeah, it's robots, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Samurai Jack rules.
Yep.
See you in the fall of 93.
That was the fall of 93 into the ground.
Is that the fall of 93? Anyway.
Oh, shut the fuck up. This has been The Hill is Always Greenier.
Greenier.
And we'll see you on the other serials.
I don't care what it takes.
Oh, yeah. I was born today. I wasn't sure where I was going to go with that for a second.
He made me first. I'm his favorite. He made me persistent. He made you stupid.
He gave me a cloaca. And he gave you a big, juicy ass.
You can't handle all this junk inside my trunk.
One coconuts he didn't give me either. Not even a little shrimpy dick.
I'm like a G.I. Joe down there.
Okay, off to a great
You know what it's
start.
like to be a monkey that can't jerk off? That's one of the things we love to do. Especially when people are watching.
Can't even throw my shit.
Can't even shit.
Surprisingly, despite this junk in my trunk, neither can I.
Oh, yeah, me neither.
I've lived a cursed existence.
Maybe someday.
At least I have a big dumpy dump.
I'm a bird. It all comes out at the same time. What the fuck are you dumbbots talking about? I was just taking a shit. What is this discussion about?
And jerking off.
At the same time, it's a Robotnik original. It's called a 3.5. And I didn't even wash my hands.
Well, Jeremy, you've got your stinger.
This is PG-13 podcast.
Oh my gosh.